Welcome to another day. We're just methodically moving along with what time we do have available. We were gonna start other things, but then we decided we might as well get all these cushions battened up and ready to go. And so I got out my Power Shot Pro over here from Home Depot. I like the way it actually shoots a larger staple than what I normally use for upholstery. Shoots one about, I don't know, 3/8, almost a ½ inch wide, which works really good for this, batten, which is, you got to hold on to a lot of it to make it stay there. And in reality also, it's only just tacked on 1 2 3 here, 1 2 3 there, 1 2 3 there, a little more in the corners. You don't really need a lot of staples to hold it on because the vinyl is going to hold it on. And we're just moving along. I mean, it's time consuming, I guess, is really the point I'm trying to make here. But we've got the 4 done. We have one more over here, and that'll be what I need to do in the way of making a cushion and then making a whole vinyl cover to go over it. Because like I said, we're gonna just copy these guys, so the cushion, everything is probably totally intact and ready to go in that whole setup. So these are the more complicated ones as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that one has its own complications, don't get me wrong, but these are non-existent, so there's nothing to copy. So I have to come up with my own design and my own patterns and everything, which it's one of the reasons why I'm doing this now, is because I haven't fully decided on what pattern I'm going to do yet. So but the time is coming. So I'm going to go ahead and get this last one taken care of. At least I'll be able to get that done tonight, and we'll be able to move on from there. Alright, we got everything all padded up and ready to go. I guess tomorrow we'll get out the vinyl and start making some patterns. Oh boy, it's been a long time. We'll see you then. Welcome to another day. Yeah, it's going to be another short update. I'm really kind of limited on time, and on that, a little limited on courage. Yeah, I was just looking over some stuff. I think the last time I did any vinyl was about 3.5, 4 years ago. So, and it was a little different than what I'm doing now. It almost seemed like it was simpler. As I said, I just need to get my feet wet. Once that happens, I'll just start working away, and once I do the first one, it'll be like the bolsters. The second one will be nothing. But I've gone ahead and got out some spray tack and glued up my first piece of vinyl to my backer foam so I can put some pleating in it. It's basically just going to be 4 stripes, about 3.5 inches apart, which I'm kind of giving up on my secrets already. I probably should hold off on some of this stuff and show you later, but you'll get to see the finished product. And I spent about 45 minutes to an hour working on my old Kenmore sewing machine here. It's about as old as I am, I gotta say, but it's a tough old bird, that's for sure. I've tried to do what I can to keep it going over these last few years. I bought it used, of course, about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. Cost me 35 bucks. But yeah, people aren't as adventurous anymore about, grabbing a sewing machine and trying some things. But I used a lot of carpet binders, and they are basically industrial size sewing machines. So I've kind of gotten accustomed to them over the last 25, 30 years. And in the process, I made up a crap load of bobbins here. There's nothing like running out of bobbins when you're in the middle of something. And I usually use the pre-made ones, but this time around I'm actually going to use the ones that are made by me, and they'll have the exact same thread color, because it's always off a little bit here and there. And a lot of times I end up just using a white bobbin thread. It's just easier. But the problem with that is on gray vinyl, you end up with something like that, which that is not what we want at all. So we want a nice gray like this over here, but that's a little close on the stitch. And that's basically what we're doing, is that pleating there. But it's already 12:30 a.m. Jeez. So I'm not going to be doing much more now. But I've got all the legwork done, and that was part of the issue about starting this stuff, was it wasn't done. And it was always, all right, I got to do all this stuff first before I actually can even try to do this. So I'm not even going to try, and I'm not going to try, I'm not going to do the other pieces yet. Well, the other pieces are done finally, and I'm starting to work on those. And once I get this one done, we'll start rolling along here. But until then, we'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to another day where we've just spent the last few hours playing with this guy here, creating this. This will be my prototype, so to speak. It's a little lumpy, a little whatever right now, because it's just basically stretched on the backer board, hasn't been like pulled tight or anything. But I think this is what I'm going to be going with. It's really it's a lot of work to put these pleats in, and yet they're hardly noticeable. The ones in my boat, I actually just stitched the vinyl and put them in that way, and it seemed to left enough of a pleat. They actually look pretty good right now. I'm thinking that these will be more pronounced or whatever when they're actually in the boat and they get shadows. I mean, as you can see, I have a whole bunch of lights down here, so there isn't many shadows to actually speak of. But I think it'll look pretty good overall. It's just a lot of work. And as I said, I haven't done any of this in years, and now, you know, there's no forgiveness. I mean, if it's screwed up, you pretty much got to start over. And that piece there took about an hour to create, maybe an hour and a half between gluing it all up and that, and getting it all lined up. And then I had to stitch it all, you know, and of course I had to make some piping, go around the corners, you know, around the edges. And then I actually had to stitch up panels on the sides, which, you know, any one of those things and I'm done. And I'm not going to say it's perfect, but lucky enough, the one kind of discrepancy I'm worried about, this is actually the passenger's side base back seat, which case that side meets up against fiberglass, that side meets up against fiberglass. Well, I overstitched the actual piping a little bit on one of these sides, and it's only about a ½ inch, but you know, maybe 3/8 of an inch, but, and it's with the right, you know, color stitching too, so you hardly even notice it. And I'll be honest with you, you probably never notice it, but of course when you're doing this stuff, you have to be a perfectionist, so the people that are not perfectionists look at it and go, yeah, this is excellent. Not downgrading anybody's eye or anything, but you know, it's just the way it works. I mean, I was a professional flooring installer. I can go into anybody's work and pick it apart. Anybody's. I mean, unless you've just had one piece and it was just floated in or something like that. But yeah, somewhere, someplace I can critique you. I was an inspector too, so I mean, yeah, I can critique you, but I never went that route. I didn't like doing that. I went and inspected what was wrong. I didn't actually go to pick somebody apart, and that's the reason why I became an inspector, because I got tired of seeing reports of sending somebody out to look at a stretch on a job or something and come back and they're like, the seams are bad, replace the whole job. And it's like, there was nothing wrong with the seams, what's the problem? And they're like, oh, whatever. So long story short, if I try to be as much of a perfectionist as possible, hopefully the little flaws that I notice, nobody else will. So, but at the moment, I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I need to do some like pushing and pulling and maybe a little extra filling on some corners and things like that with this guy. Don't know if I really want to do it yet, but you know, it's like everything. Once I put it on, it's done. And everything about this whole thing has just been dragging on because I have been dragging on. I don't want to say I don't have the ambition. Like I said, I'm just waiting for something to go wrong, in which case it's going to cause issues, you know. And you can't just go through life like that. Sometimes you just got to grab the bull by the horns and get going. So that's what we're going to do. And there we go. It's not perfect, but it'll take a little time to stretch itself out and puff up, so to speak. And when it doesn't, it'll go outside and get hit by some sunlight, which I think at one time I had it out here during the summertime. It was 145 or 155 degrees. When it gets that warm, it'll settle right in where it wants to go. But overall, for my first time around, it don't look so bad. As I said, it'll have a little pushing and pulling, and it'll be fine. And looks like I'll be getting like one done a day at this pace. I went ahead and I got my second one all glued up. We're gonna have to go ahead and put some pleating in it tomorrow. It's just a blank canvas right now. I don't know. I think next time I'll try the 1/2 inch. It's like a 1/4 inch foam. It does leave a nice definition. I do like it. I don't really think it has to be much more deeper than that. But yeah, and we're moving along. But it's 12:30 again. So yeah, I'm done for the evening, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. And there's how I spend a day. By the way, welcome to another day. As I said, we're just moving straight on. Keep going with these cushions until they're all done. We just finished up this guy here. I throw him down. think it actually belongs this way, but like you saw before, it's pretty much the same thing. Like that one right there. It's taking me, oh geez, I think it's been off and on, of course, you know, it's evening and I'm fooling around on the computer and having dinner and, you know, those kind of crazy things. But I figure somewhere around 4.5, 5 hours. I mean, from every piece, you got to make, you know, every piece also. You know, like I said before, you got to make this piece, and you got to make the piping. Then you got to cut out the pieces on the side, and then you got to join all three of them together. It just takes a lot of time, as I said. I mean, I'm sure other people are much faster, and they would already have all their patterns cut out, and they'd have all their piping made, and ready to go. Well, as I said, I'm working with a limited amount of vinyl, but it's quickly coming up on a lot of vinyl, but I still have those seats to do, which I know will take a lot. So I'm really working on trying to use as little as possible. Not only that, but I don't want any scraps either. I mean, if some of it's left over, it's the same color as the other 19. Jeez, I could slap myself every time I say that. With my boat, worst case scenario, I mean, I wouldn't want to put a piece that matches another piece side by side, but if I had to replace the bolsters for some reason, you know, it's a good place to start, having some of this extra left over. And God forbid something happens to one of these, you know, seats, there's always some extra left over also. And I'm just not into wasting. I mean, my whole career, and that's how I got that leopard spotted rug that was in some Macy's store in their, I don't know, kids department or something like that. But just using everything up and not having a lot of waste left over, the superintendent got a big piece and I got a little piece and everybody was happy. So I'm just not into wasting anyway. You know, I could chop all this stuff up, but if I got to the end and I had to put, like, say, a seam down the middle of one of these pieces because I didn't have enough, I'd really be kicking myself. Well, that's it. You know, I mean, it's kind of boring, but it's got to be done. I mean, it's kind of like doing the same fiberglass over and over again. Eventually, you're just like, how many times can I show this on camera? Well, I don't know. As long as it's taken me, may actually show you another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the cushions 6, 7. Hold on, ladies and germs. It's going to be a wild ride. But I will start the next one tomorrow. See ya. Welcome to another day. I'm going to get started. Welcome to another new day. Yeah, I'm sure they're moving quick now. We've just milling forward as fast as we possibly can at snail speed. We're up to 4 pieces now. We've got both back seats and both backs. This one was just finished a little while ago. It still needs a little puffing out to do. I like to leave them sit for a couple days and they tend to puff up and, you know, kind of settle out and even out, and then I'll put them on the floor and walk on them. Just kind of come over here and, you know, just flatten them right to the floor, you know, and then just let them expand again. And really all that is doing, because it's cold right now. I mean, my basement's 69 degrees, I believe it is, somewhere around there. Yeah, when this vinyl gets up to 120, 140 degrees, again, it'll all kind of fit right in. And again, I'm not perfect with this stuff, so a little usage, a little just installing them will help them out and make them a little more forgiving on their looks. Not saying they're ugly or anything, but at the same time, as I said, I'm a perfectionist and I can already start picking them apart. But again, I'm not thinking about the fact that this whole side gets covered up. There's actually that end of the bolster goes right in here. And the only thing you see is like this tiny piece at the top, and all this is covered up with fiberglass. This is where it meets the base of the seat. You see this top, and the motor box is here. So, you know, I'm being overcritical, but when it actually gets installed, hopefully the overcriticalness, as I said before, will lead to a very good looking vinyl job. Because I've done this before, it just seems like I don't know. I've taken it up a notch in its complexity, and in that taking it up a notch in its complexity, it's also made me kind of doubt my abilities a little bit. But that's just the quick of it all. I mean, as I said, I'm sure you don't want to watch me sew over and over again. And we are off to the next one, and we'll update you tomorrow or the next day or whatever day we get to finish this thing. Welcome to another day. Yes, we are moving along, but we just hit a bridge abutment or a wall of concrete or something. I am just kind of dumbfounded at the moment. This seat so far is perfect in every way, shape, or form. It's a first go around. You know, I mean, there was no alterations needed, anything. I'm just shocked on how easy it just perfectly came out. So I was stitching it up, and in the process of doing that, this part right here got folded underneath. I'm going through, you know, a crap ton of layers here, you know, all that stuff there, and it got folded over. Nope, well, we don't really need the thing anyway. It got folded over. I ended up putting, I don't know if you can see it, but right here, there they are. Yeah, I stitched through the face of the vinyl. It's like 4 stitches, but I know once I put a stretch on it, those things are going to open up and open up and open up and open up. At the moment, my only option is to look at this guy and say, yeah, that was a really nice piece of work I did there. And then get out the scissors and cut it all up and use it for a pattern. Because once I take this piece off, the sides, the side is nothing. I'm glad I got the right size, but the skirting's nothing. You know, it's the easier of the pieces, to be honest. It's the making of this guy all over again. I wish it would have I would have ripped the skirt off and redid it again, but if I take this piping off and the skirt off, it's just going to be shredded and it's going to be a big mess. And honestly, it just makes no sense and just start over again. So, yeah. We'll see you tomorrow. Welcome to another day. Now there's 5 stitches I'll never forget, and which has resulted in this thing sitting here and this thing installed on our foam and backer board. Another day and a half. Told you I'm not fast at this stuff. And I just got it on. It's a little lumpy right now, but just like these guys here, they start to puff out a little bit after a little time. You know, not only that, but as I said, they probably could use a good, you know, sunshine, 100 degrees to soften up, and you can push some things around if you need to a little bit. But we have the 5th of our 5 pretty much homemade cushions, because there was nothing else besides what my imagination and what was in my boat now to just copy off of. So, but now we have gone ahead. Yeah, this guy. Look, watch this. Trash bags over there. I'll probably save it for something. I mean, I do the pattern on it. Maybe I'll do something with it. But as you can see, we are starting to strip our bucket seats here. Coming across some problems. Gonna say right off the bat. These are a little complicated to deal with, which we're gonna have to dissect them and all that good stuff. But the main problem I'm having right now is, yeah, that arm's broken all the way down. I don't know if it's fixable because it's actually kind of this hard acrylic foam. I figure it's like I don't know, like this US composite stuff that I used to get that they made street signs out of, because as you can see, just, I mean, that's it right there. That's just the hard foam, and you can see where it's broken. So I have a serious complication with these guys right out of the box, and it's going to take a lot more to do than what I'm going to be able to do tonight. So this will be held off for another day. and we'll see you then. Having to stop and go do other things, and they don't want to hear about all this stuff. The same thing at, oh jeez, this is so cut up. Oh man, another short one, huh? He is a true bitch. I mean, he really is. The baby's got some brand new shoes. Yeah, that's a real bad one there. All right, we turn that down for a second.